AI music is completely breaking the internet right now. But let's face it, most of it is just low effort, lazy prompt spamming that's ripping the soul out of music.
Is it the same for you?
That track right there was built using artificial intelligence, but it sounds completely human because I led the machine. I didn't just type a sentence into a box and call it a day. I used tools like Suno and Flow Music as collaborative assistants and then brought everything into Logic Pro to perform on instruments and sing the vocals live. In this video, I'm giving you a look at my entire workflow. I'll show you how to use these tools to break through creative blocks whilst keeping your artistic integrity intact. But before I open up this session, I just want to talk to you about a massive legal trap that almost every creator is getting themselves into right now. If you open up a piece of software like Suno, type in a text prompt and click generate, and you have a premium subscription, yes, you'll be granted a commercial license to put it on Spotify, but a commercial license is not the same as copyright. Copyright offices around the world, from the US Copyright Office to European authorities, have made their stance crystal clear. That is that a machine cannot hold authorship. Because we cannot perfectly control how a neural network can interpret a text prompt, the raw audio output that comes from that is basically like a legal ghost. It has no human author. Therefore, anyone can just take that, remix it, re-upload it, and do what they want with it, and you would have no legal basis to defend yourself. But here's where the game changes. There's a massive difference between using AI as a generative replacement versus using it as an assisted workflow. The law doesn't protect pure algorithms, but it absolutely protects pure expression, human expression. My workflow is completely human in the loop. The song doesn't start with a text prompt. It starts with my original demo, my chord progressions, and my melodies tracked right here in Logic. By using AI tools purely to pitch arrangement ideas or texture layers, and then taking those ideas and physically replaying the instruments, writing the lyrics, and tracking my actual live vocals into a microphone, I'm injecting undeniable human authorship. We are taking a digital sketch and building a completely defensible original master recording around it. So when it's time to release a song built this way, you don't have to hide it, you just have to be transparent. On DistroKid, when it asks if a track uses AI, select yes, part of the audio. This tells Spotify and Apple Music that human elements coexist here, which protects my artist profile from being flagged as an automated spam account. I then credit myself as the primary songwriter, lyricist, and producer, and list the tool under the secondary generative AI technical metadata tag. Here is my biggest pro tip. Never delete your raw DAW project files. This is important. Your Logic Pro session with all your separate vocal takes, your unique MIDI data, your automation lanes, it's all your physical, legal receipt. If a platform's automated filter ever mistakenly flags your music down the line, for whatever reason, that project folder is the undeniable proof that a human being drove the creative process. One last thing that I thought I should add is that according to the official US Copyright Office AI guidance, a song does not lose copyright protection just because it contains unedited AI elements. The law evaluates the preponderance of human input across the entire finished work. This point here is very important, and what it means will become clearer as we continue. Okay, so to show you how a track like this is fully protected, let's hop into Logic Pro and look at how I chop, layer, and heavily modify these AI elements to blend them seamlessly with my own human production. So this is what I started out with. This is my demo.
Every time I fall into this sound, I break their silence with a jealous frown. I've got 3 pieces of silver here, just to beckon you into my fear.
So I'm just going to stop it there. So as you can see, this demo was built from scratch. I have MIDI files here. I didn't play them in using a piano on this occasion. What I did was just put them in using, let me just show you this grid here and add in the notes. So, for example, Grandma's piano. And also angelic guitar pad. For effect. Kind of the niche in the sound, I think. So this is my singing track.
Every time I fall into this sound.
And here's my guitar track. Now here I used Virtual Drummer. Pretty simple stuff. Here I used Virtual Bassist. I put in the chords for the song and it created a bass line. As you can see, it's quite a simple bass line. It's just following the basic movement of the chords. So what I'm about to show you now is the Supreme lead synth, and it's basically what I base my guitar part on. It's kind of like the melody that intersperses between verses. All right. And this is how it sounds with all the other instruments. So what I have here is the complete demo. So this is the final demo that I had. And now what I'm going to show you is what I did with this in Suno to create a scratch record, basically, of this song that I could then build upon. So I don't know if you've heard of Suno, but what it is a music generation system. It generates music from a prompt, or it can cover music, which is how I've used it. So it can cover an uploaded audio demo. In Suno, there's various options. So as you can see, there's the create option, a bit where you can put your lyrics in, add the style, put in the weirdness and the style influence. So how much you want it to sound like the style. This is quite important when you've uploaded your own demo, because it will determine what the style of the music is. So you could turn that down and it will be less like the style. When you upload the demo, you'll also get an option here saying audio, I think it is, something like that. So as you can see, this is my demo here. And if I go into it and I select remix cover, see it's got all the lyrics there. It's created a style for me. You can press that and that will adapt it slightly. So look, if you can see, it says this, and you can press that and it can reassess it and slightly change it. In the style section, you can add your own words in, or you can add in bits and pieces in between this version. Now I've done this as a cover of my song. It's added in audio influence. So if you turn that up, the closer it will be to your audio. So I think I turned that up and I turned the style influence down to about 25%. Didn't turn. If you turn this too high, then it starts going a little bit weird. So obviously don't go into the red. The furthest you can go is 85. And similarly, if you go right to 0, it goes into the red for style influence. So you shouldn't really go below 15%. Otherwise it starts to sound odd. I mean, to be honest, you can actually leave the style completely blank, in which case it's got nothing to depend on. I'm not sure how that affects it. You can select the vocal gender, and then you click create, which is self-explanatory. So this is the demo that I just showed you.
Jealous frown, I've got 3 pieces of silver here, just to beckon you into.
And what I did was I asked Suno to cover it for me. And this is what it came up with.
Every time I fall into this sound, I break their silence with a jealous frown. I got 3 pieces of silver here, just to beckon you into my fear. Is it the same for you?
If you listen to this version that Suno did, you can hear that it uses my melodies and the drums and the bass line. It embellishes it a little bit, but it's basically the same. In terms of the melodies, what I'm talking about is the synth sounds, that da-na-na-na-na-na. It uses that, but it uses it with a guitar instead of a keyboard. And basically it's the same singing melody.
Fist, and I stood my ground with my angry into my fist, and I stood my ground with my angry list.
Same chord progression.
I got dirt to take and dirt to give. I can't seem to find a way to live. I've got dirt to take and dirt to give. I can't seem to find a way to live.
As you know, I like this version of my track, so I downloaded the stems. So as you can see, they're the stems. So you've got lead vocal, backing vocals, drums, bass, guitar, keyboards, percussion, synth, and other. And then I downloaded it. And when I downloaded it, I made sure it was a fixed tempo. The reason why I did that is because it's easier to edit. The reason why it's easier to edit is because it stays on the beat. So you're able to, if you want to repeat bars, you can do that. So here's another thing that you can do in Suno. You can open something in an editor, and it's a bit like using a DAW. They do have an alternative to this editor, which is more like using a DAW, but I'm not going to show you how to do that now because it's not the purpose of this video, but maybe I'll go into that another time. So what I want to do now is go back into Logic and show you the completed version of my song, to show you how I've made changes to the version that Suno's done. Ultimately, Suno based its version on my version, and then I adapted its version. So here is the version of that track with the adjustments that I've made to it. As you can see, I've added in my own lead vocal. So I added in my own vocal. As you can see here, I use something called DistroKid AI to better my vocal, to make it sound more professional. I also added in backing vocals using DistroKid AI. So what I did is I used my own vocal, and I used the third and the octave of my own vocal. Is it the same? And you can hear that with my vocal.
Is it the same for you?
I also had the third. As you can see, it says the third above.
Is it the same for you?
Sounds nice, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so that obviously wasn't in the version that Suno did. But all of these little bits that I'm doing for myself are aspects of what we were discussing at the beginning of this video, which is a way of making something your own. And remember what I was saying earlier, as you can see here, this drum part is complete. So this is the Suno drum part, and it's the entire part. I've made adjustments to the effects on it. I've turned it up and added in compression there. And it's also running through my master as well. And I created a pause somewhere during the drumming. So as you can hear, this is how it goes. Is it the same? So I created that pause. Once again, I'm adding my own element into it, my own feel. But remember what the US Copyright Office AI guidance says is that a song does not lose copyright protection just because it contains unedited AI elements. Right? The law evaluates the preponderance of human input across the entire work. So they look at the work as a whole. And as you can see, I've been making quite significant changes to the vocals and the backing vocals. I've got the bass in there. Obviously, the bass pause is there. I've added in overdrive on the bass, so a bit of distortion, make it a little bit more saturated. There's compression. I've messed around with the EQ. This was just to check the correlation. And I've kept in not all of the guitar, some of the guitar, because I've added in my own guitar. So there's parts where the guitar is playing. So there's one bit where I allow it to play a bit of a solo. If you listen just before that, is my solo. So this is the part that I added in. And, you know, ultimately I keep parts of the song in because I think that it sounds better with them than without them. And there are parts during the verse where there's this nice sound that the guitar does, kind of like slightly funky rhythm to it, and I think that it sounded nice. So I kept that part in. I'm just going to show you a few more bits that I've done for myself. So I've added in a whole synth section as well. So the Suno guitar part does a solo here. Can you hear that? I've added in that. So if you look, you can see my lead section that plays along with the guitar solo. I got free. So I've brought my own part to the existing Suno part, the stem. And towards the end, I add in a lot of different synths and also lead solo as well. Is it the same for you? Again, all of this section is my own kind of section. All I've got there is really the drums, the bass. The keyboard is barely playing anything, so there's hardly any wave. So really it's just the drums and the bass for that part, and there's a little bit of the guitar, but it's turned down certain parts where I added in the synth. As you can see, it kind of matches up. I've turned it down. So where I've added in synth, I've then turned down the guitar because maybe I felt that it was too overcrowded. There's also this beginning solo section as well. Over here, just to beckon you into my fear. Is it the same for you? For the most part, I've got rid of the synth. I've just put in the synth during this section. So during that guitar solo, I think I felt that the synth added to the overall sound. So I removed the synth otherwise because I put in so much of my own synths that I thought it was just a little bit overcrowded. The stems don't always represent exactly what they say. So a synth might be orchestral elements, might be a synth pad, it might be a piano. In these stems, the piano would be on the keyboard part. So you can see by my automation, like these elements, these yellow elements, I made a lot of different changes to the loudness at certain points so that I could bring in my own parts and, add my own touch to it. And in this way, I've managed to bypass the copyright issue. So in this way, you can see how the Suno elements have become kind of like a reference map, but also an accompaniment for my own elements of this song, which I've tried to lead with. And ultimately, what you have here is derivative of my original work. So in that way, I've added in my own element to it. So the drum beat, the bass line is quite similar to my own bass line. So if you listen to the bass line here, and here are my drums. So what I'm going to show you now is my distributor and how to make the right selections to represent the fact that you have used AI. So here's DistroKid. As you can see, this is my music that I've uploaded before. I'm not going to actually upload the track, but I'm going to feign uploading a track so you can see what you need to do. So go to upload music. You can see all of the different distributors that the music will be sent out to. These is a key one because will let people know what music is being generated by AI. I find that it's a little bit overzealous though, and it tends to call music generated when really it's just assisted. That's happened to me in the past, unfortunately. So as you can see, does this song include AI generated music, vocals or lyrics? So if you select yes, you can select in this instance with what I've done, part of the audio, and then you state what part of the audio. So you can state instruments and then you save it. Once you upload this track, you go into credits, and I'll show you how to do that. And you can actually specify exactly what instruments are being played by the human and exactly what instruments are being played by AI. So you go into credits. So as you can see, I've done this. So you can music and lyrics, James Turone, synthesizer, because you remember I added in synthesized sounds, keyboard sounds, guitar acoustic, because I was strumming on my guitar in that song, and guitar electric, producer, and instruments. So I've just left that as instruments. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in musician, and I'm going to say drums and bass. I'll just add that in for now. So as you can see, instrument, drums, AI, save this credit, instrument, bass, AI. Even though the bass and the drums were based on my drums and bass to begin with, the AI is ultimately playing it on the final version. So I'm putting in that the AI is playing it. And I'll save that credit. I'll remove instruments because that's kind of very vague. So it's drums and bass. Obviously, I produced it. I put in all the effects. I added my master effects and so on and so forth. Also, aspects of guitar as well. The AI played, but I'll save that till later. Yeah. Then you select done and submit to streaming services. So this is important because it's how you stay transparent with platforms like Spotify and Apple Music so that they don't flag you as spam. But remember, it's always important to keep your raw logic files safe because if a platform's automated filter ever flags your song by mistake as AI, your tracking layers are your concrete legal receipt. So the key message here is don't fear the technology, just master it with integrity. Please drop a comment below sharing how you use current technology in your DAW setups. So what I've effectively done is I've shown you the human expression in the music I've made. I've shown you how it's human-led. So what I've done today is I've shown you how the law doesn't protect pure algorithms. And I believe that, I've shown you how my workflow is like completely, as I said before, human in the loop. The song doesn't start with a text prompt. It starts with my original demo, my chord progressions, and my melodies tracked right here in Logic. So by using AI tools to pitch arrangement ideas and texture layers and then putting in my own parts, I'm injecting undeniable human authorship into this. So I'm building a completely defensible original master recording around the Suno file. So what this means is that not anyone can just rip my track, remix it, and do what they want to it. I have legal ground to stand on to stop them from doing that. I hope you found this video helpful and it gives you some idea about how to overcome copyright barriers when you use AI tools in your creation process. If you have any comments or questions, please post a comment down below and please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.